Welcome to Insight Builder channel. Big data learners, data leaders, and my dear friends. Big data cluster demystified, advanced exploration of Hadoop file system and Spark engine, hands-on discussion. This is a continuation video of the earlier introduction video where I introduced about big data, the ecosystem surrounding the big data, the purpose of actually understanding the big data cluster and exploring it. So I had explained these points already, and if you don't own a cluster, how to own a cluster for a limited amount of time to explore it using AWS EMR cluster, or by building your own cluster by referring to the YouTube playlist that is available in my YouTube channel. You can take a look at that in this YouTube channel. Inside this particular build your own big data cluster, you can build it yourself by using a very simple 2 CPU 8 GB RAM 2 vCPU, that is 2 core CPU 8 GB RAM machine. Or you can also start working on this playlist where you can work with the Spark and Hadoop file system at a very detailed level. This is the point that we were discussing in the earlier video. Now what we are going to do is we are going to actually start working on this aspect, and also we are going to learn about the cluster hands-on. So get yourself in the cluster and do practice, guys, and do subscribe to my channel so that you will get further updates related to PySpark and Spark related discussions. Without further delay, let us head to the browser where we already have the AWS EMR instance running. So it is in the waiting state. It means that the EMR is already running. Before we try to connect to the master node, so this is if you click on this, you will get the connection string for the master node. I can copy this. However, if I paste it in my environment, it will work. Okay, because the master node security group configuration has been already done. But in your case, click on the security group. If you are using other cloud service providers like Google or Azure, ensure that you also have a similar kind of a SSH from your cluster environment master node, and then create the security group, that is firewall policy, in such a way that you can allow SSH port 22 connection. You will see that in a moment. I'll be editing this security group policies, and I already have the 0000, that is I am allowing all the IPs to connect to this particular instance of master node. You will see that I have already created 222 to connect from any IP, so it can start this connection request can come from any of the IP. This is how you should also enable, because you are going to run it for less than 20 to 30 minutes and you are going to explore. After that, you are going to delete this instance. Don't worry about the security aspect of it. Just go ahead and give it full access, or else you have to, I have to share the IP also, which becomes a challenge here. So that's why I put the 0000 here. It's much more easier for me to discuss also. Now that SSH is already available, let me go to the terminal. Inside the terminal, you are seeing that terminal, it is actually split into half here. So I'll be working on the top part. If I have to do any additional configuration, then I'll be coming to this bottom part. At this moment, only concentrate here. I'm going to paste the SSH configuration that I have got, that I just now copied from the master node. I'm going to paste it, and you'll immediately see that I am getting a feedback from the instance, and the EMR connection will arise. So I am inside the EMR cluster right now. First, we have to start. We are in the Hadoop home right now. Okay, so if you do a ls-a, you will get all the hidden files inside here. That dot files inside the home directory, will get it. But we don't see any profile files here. So there is no way you can get any information from these files. You can actually do check it. You can try the -rc. So -rc is the basic file where all the necessary configuration that you want is populated, and you can actually use it to configure your environment. I'm not going to deal with Linux related stuff. I'm going to deal with big data related stuff. So first and foremost, this is what you need to check. So we are in the home. So Java is also installed. It is installed in etc alternatives JRE. So this itself is giving us some idea that etc could be one of the locations where we can get the data. So next what we are going to do is we have to check whether we have the distributed Hadoop file system, you check it using JPS. JPS will allow us to check the distributed processes, what is running. So we see that JPS is running and a main process is also running. Usually what happens is, this is a master node. If you are actually having a single node cluster, you will see that there will be multiple processes like data node, name node, and secondary name node will start populating here. You will have resource managers like yarn also populating here. Since this is a master node, we don't have those control directly here. Okay. Next thing what we need to check is, we have to find the configuration file location. So easiest method is, first of all, let us do an hdfs-dfs and let us do an ls command on the root. So this is going to be a common thing, whichever cluster you are working on, this is going to be common. We are going to do a hdfs-dfs listing of the root directory. So you will see that multiple directories are already available inside the root. So we are inside the Hadoop file system. This is a distributed file system root. If I do a ls, simply ls and root, so root, this slash means root in Linux. So I hope that you are aware of Linux. If not, you can learn it here also. So ls, this is slash means root. So this is the root folders in local file system, and these are folders in Hadoop file system. Fine. We can see that, okay, there is two file systems right now. We have local and Hadoop. That's a good thing, but still we don't know how, we have not located where is the actual configuration files. We have two other applications. We have Spark and we have Hive. So let us start Hive. To start Hive, the query engine, all you need to give is just Hive command. So the Hive will be installed in the Hadoop system, and immediately you see that you get this logging initialized using configuration in etc hive. So this actually is what we are looking for. Okay, so by using this, you can actually locate the configuration files of Hive, and most of the time you will also locate the other related configuration files also around the Hive folder only. So let me see that, but before we go, let us actually do a show databases, and I am showing this because you will see that it is actually connected with the Glue catalog. Let me hold the discussion for here a moment, and let me go to the browser and let me show you in my EC2 instance. If I go to AWS Glue, if I click on this, you can also search Glue here and you can go into AWS Glue. If I go into the Glue catalog area, I will have my own databases and tables there. So the databases and tables that we are seeing in the EMR is actually present inside the Glue catalog also. So what this means is that the EMR instance that we have created is connected with our Glue catalog. So whatever catalog or whatever tables you create inside the EMR instance will get populated here also. So that's what I was trying to say. So if I click on YouTube data, there will be actually multiple tables. Okay, so I will also show these tables right inside the cluster now. So let me go back to the cluster, to the prompts, and I'm going to say use YouTube data. Sorry for my YouTube data, and you need to always use semicolon to complete the command. And now I say show tables, and I execute this, and you'll see that I have multiple tables here. Let me go back to the browser for a moment to show you guys that these tables are same as what we see in this particular area, and you can start querying these tables also. So for an example, if I say if I say select star from youtube.raw csv limit 5, just a minute. Once you use this command and if you execute it, if the data is available there, okay, if the data is deleted, then you will not get it. So you will see that the data is available there, and we get the data out of the cluster, out of the actual. So let me show you further also. Let me show you describe table. Let us do describe formatted, and I use YouTube Just a moment, let me recheck the table name. Let me go to the browser for a minute, and YouTube raw CSV. Okay, so I'm going to say raw CSV. Okay, so this will actually give me the description of the table, this table itself. This table was not created from the cluster. This was created outside the cluster and through some other process. And this is the actual, details of the entire data. So you see the various, you see the command initiated here. You see the various data types and the column names, and then you see the partition, how it is partitioned, and then it comes the owner and also the location. So this is the S3 bucket location where it is available. This file is not inside the HDFS file system. So this is inside the EMRFS. So S3 buckets are can be used as EMRFS. So there is a way to do this. There is a separate video playlist that I discuss these points, and all these are related to the file, related to the table. So this is what I was trying to tell. So this is how you look at the tables, and you look at the actual data, raw data inside this. Now the question comes, okay, so this is all inside Hive. We are describing the tables. It's all well and good, but still we have not seen the configuration files. So I hear you, but I am going to exit out of this. I have to just give exit and semicolon. That's very important. If the semicolon is not there, it will not work. Next, what we are going to do is we are going to go to etc. So we saw that inside etc there has to be the Hive and Hadoop related folders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into etc and I'm going to do ls, and I'm going to pipe the output, and I'm going to say h star. So Hadoop, Hive, whatever it is, it will start coming. So we see that there are multiple directories here. So we have Hadoop, HDFS, we have Hive, and we have Hudi, Hue. So all these are directories. So it is telling that I have directories here. So, but these are all directories. It's gripping out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say cd into Hadoop. So when I cd into Hadoop and I press tab key, I find that these are three folders with the name Hadoop. I'm going to go into Hadoop directly. And inside Hadoop, if I actually do a conf, you will actually see that, okay, if you do an ls conf, you will see all these configuration files. So this is what I was talking about, the core site XML, the Hadoop HDFS site XML, and the yarn-site XML, and we have the hadoop-env.sh, and also we will have another two configurations that we need to look at. Let me go to the PDF again for a moment. And so this is where most of the configurations you will find. So core site, HDFS site, hadoop-env.sh, Hive we will find it in Hive folder. I will show it, and spark-env.sh also we will find it in Spark folder. So let us go back and let us go into cd.hive. So we already know that there is a Hive folder here. So let us go into Hive. Linux is case sensitive, so you have to use the appropriate lowercase letter, and I am going to say lfconf, and you'll see that inside the Hive also we have various configuration files, and we have a Hive site here. The point here is that similarly you will also see that, let me cd out, let me actually look at the ls. You will see there are lots of files inside etc. What we are looking for is Spark. We need to see whether we have a we have a folder called as Spark, or else we have to understand how to get the details of the Spark environment. Okay, so from looking at the files that is listed here, we are not finding Spark. So what we will do is we will do ls sp.star. Okay, I think, just a minute, let me do an ls and let me do an sp.spark. If you do a grep ls, pipe the result to grep and do an sp, we see that there is a Spark environment here, Spark folder here. So let us do a cd into Spark, and then let us do an ls, and you will see that similarly there is a configuration file, and let us do a configuration ls, and you'll see that it has spark-env.sh, and also it should have hive-site.xml. So we will start by looking at the hive-site.xml. Okay, let us do a cat on hive-site.xml. Okay, so the mistake here is that I have to cd into change directory into hives into conf, and then I need to do the cat command, or else it will be it can be done from outside also, but it will be more it will not be very straightforward. So right here you see that this configuration file starts with the basic Apache software foundation license, and this has been modified for Amazon requirement. So there will be lots of changes here. You will immediately see the Metastore URI. So this is what I was talking about when I told about Metastore. So this is how using the thrift connection, the catalog, the glue catalog is connected to the Hive. So this is all already set for you, or else you will have to do this manually. So if you are going to install Hive and Hadoop in your system, you will have to do all these things manually. Okay, so this is all done for you, and that is one of the benefits. So if you so the Hive, the username, the password, everything, so you see that here, right? This all needs to be set by you. You can use this as a reference also. Okay, I am actually showing all these things because I am going to destroy this cluster anyway, and if I am going to create a cluster, I will be changing all these things in such a way that it will be secure. So why I am showing this aspect is that when you are working with glue catalog, you may not actually work with the cluster like EMR cluster like this. You will work with glue catalog, and you will work with the glue jobs, and the glue job will actually create a EMR cluster. So there is if you are into AWS, if you are into Data Factory, Databricks, or any of these big data clusters, right, some or the other way they will be linked. I am not telling that okay, Azure, Google and AWS will be linked. No, they will not be linked. I am telling that the big data and the real world will be linked in some way. So the real world is the actual the storage where you are working. So the database, the Postgres or the MySQL database, which you will have access to. You will not have access to the master node like the node that I am showing to you right now. You will not be having access to this. But when you are working with glue catalog, so for an example, when you are working with glue catalog like this, and if you are going to work on glue jobs, so there will be a way to work on glue jobs. Just a minute. Yeah, ETL jobs. If you are working on ETL jobs, these ETL jobs will actually connect. It will create a virtual, not a virtual instance. It will create a serverless instance, and it will connect, do the ETL on the big data, and then create the table for you, and also it will also create the catalog for you here, and then it will write the data for you. All these things glue does it. Okay, it is called as glue crawling. In the backend, that is what it is doing. This searching for understanding this only led me to entirely explore the big data ecosystem. So I want you guys to actually understand these concepts. That's why I'm trying to highlight this and show it to everybody. So this is about the Hive site. Let us actually move out. The Hive and Spark are closely linked. So Hive, whatever is there in Hive site will be there for Spark also. So the metastores are same for both Hive and Spark. So you don't need to worry about that. Whatever you do in Spark will be reflected in Hive also. Let me go to Hadoop. Let me cd out. And let me move into Hadoop environment. And there it will be little bit different. But Hadoop environment, you will not find such a kind of a link and all. You will find the distributed environment or the distributed system there. So inside the Hadoop, let us go into conf. And inside that, if you let us start catting directly, we can say core-site, and let us explore it. So you'll see immediately that okay, there are file systems that is supported, EMR, FS and S3 file system inside EMR, and we have the various the hosts that can connect with this instance, and we have the this is the temporary directory where Hadoop will be placing the files, temporary files. We have the initializers, we have the default bit length, that is 256, and this is where the this you don't need to worry about. This is for Amazon related activity. Just a minute, I want to show. Yeah, this is one of the buffer directory, which is inside mount directory in root. What I want to show is, so these are all various various applications that can work with Hadoop. So all these things has to be configured here. So you don't need to worry about these things right now. Who is already configured. You see Hive is also configured here. What I wanted to show I wanted to show the name nodes. Yeah, this is the default file system. And you see that this HDFS, sorry, it actually went out. Yeah, this is the actual place where the HDFS file system distribution has been shared with you. Okay, so this is where the configuration is starting. It is at the top. This is one of the things that you can actually look at, and there is also the yarn, yet another resource negotiator. You can actually see that configuration also. And in this configuration, you will see the various IP address, where is the resource manager located, what is the port in which it is connecting. All those details will be there. This configuration you have to do it manually, and all this these files, these values are here. It is actually jar files which you need to import, and it comes with the Hadoop file system, so you don't need to worry about it, but you need to configure it. Okay, I'm actually showing this as an overview, so you don't need to worry about that this much. You will see the how the yarn is also knowing where is the file system, how to locate the file system. It is all linked together, right? And yeah, these are the various places. So Hadoop, this yarn.-site has lots of information because it is a negotiator. It is going to allocate to which location the file is going to get sent to. When you are distributing, when you are splitting the files, right? Yarn actually takes care of the resource allocation. So this is what it is showing. So there are multiple places where it can actually allocate, and you will see that it will also store the logs also. All this information will be available inside this. And as I always told, do not change anything here, your cluster will not work. So this is what I was talking about when I was discussing about this particular slide. So you have to understand how is this environment actually working. Let us actually look at hadoop-env.sh. That is actually important. I wanted to show you guys. It's a small file, but still it is important. Let us do a cat hadoop-env.sh. And inside this env.sh, you will see that lots of paths are getting exported. And right now you will understand, okay, so this is how the actual configuration happens in Linux. So in case of Windows or in case of the operating systems, the various functions or the various program, the parts of the program has to work together, right? In case of Linux, by using this kind of bash shells or bash scripts, we can actually create the connection. So by using this exporting all this path variables, we can tell the respective applications to the location where they can find the functions or the modules which they can import and start working. And you will see that all these are jar files. So Hadoop and Hive, Spark, etc. are either mainly written in Java, and they are also topped up with Scala also. And pyspark and Spark SQL are kind of a wrapper around the Java and Scala environment in such a way that you can use it more easily. So understanding this, I told you that it's a simple file, but this simple file has all the necessary information. So you will see that where the jar files are coming from, and what are the jar files are required also. Explore it by yourself and go through this, because you will actually understand that if something is missing from your particular for an example, let me go to the discussion again. If any of your pyspark file is failing, if your script is failing, and if it is telling that okay, one of the jar file is missing, or one of the file location is wrong, or if the configuration is having some issue, then you will immediately understand, okay, this is the problem that is going on. You have to do an extensive certification for this. I am not denying that. However, you should know this. Okay, so this is going to be a responsibility. So that is why I am showing in this video, and I am actually drilling down straight to that point. I am not talking anything else apart from this. Why? Because if you are not from big data environment and if you want to know what it takes to be a data engineer, this is what it takes. You have to understand a lot of things that is new and also that is fun to learn. Now coming back to the terminal, let us so we have seen the overall configuration files, most of the configuration files. We have seen the metastore also, and now in order to, we cannot actually connect to the metastore directly. So if you are owning the metastore, if the metastore is installed by you in the local Docker environment or Postgres environment, then you will be able to connect. But this glue catalog that we are talking about is taken care by the AWS only, so we cannot directly connect to it, and I cannot show the database that is located inside the glue catalog. So that is difficult. Probably you can take a look at my other videos, you can understand that better. So if you go to this series of videos, if you go to this series of playlist of videos, you will be able to understand that point. Let me go back to the terminal again. Now we have seen the overview, right? But we have to understand how to initiate Spark. So initiating Spark is very simple. So there are three ways. Yeah, there are actually three different ways to do it. First and foremost, you can say Spark shell. This will initiate Scala environment. You can say Spark SQL. This will initiate SQL environment directly. Sorry, just a minute. SQL environment, or you can actually say PySpark. If you say PySpark, it will initiate the PySpark environment. So I am going to initiate PySpark environment. So you see that by default it is initiating Python 3.7.16. So this is PySpark 3, and you will see that it is taking Hive configuration, and it also searching for some of the jar files which is not available, but it is falling back to the regular options that is available. And by default, whenever you are initiating, you should say PySpark -- master yarn, and you have to say -- configuration and give the Spark configuration. But if you don't even initiate it also, you will get this Spark environment, and you will see that Spark session is available as Spark. If I say spark.sql, so this is a Python environment, okay? So if I say SQL and if I say show databases, sorry, that was a mistake. If I say show databases, it will actually connect with the Hive, and it will try to get the database details from there. And now it is saying that okay, the profiles are not matching, so it is not giving me the necessary information. But actually you can get the databases from here also. And you can actually create the various scripts right from the Python environment also. So you have to, if you are going to execute PySpark scripts, what you will be doing is you will be actually saying PySpark, and you will be giving the script name. So that is how you will be starting the script. So you will not be using Python, so you will be using PySpark. So once you initiate PySpark, what will happen is, you saw that, right? Once you initiate PySpark, so this actual script will get started, this particular environment will get started, and you will get Spark, and inside your script you should have Spark already referenced, and then your script will run properly. But if you use Python, so if I say Python here, what will happen is it will create just Python environment. So there is no Spark environment in this. So Spark context or Spark session is basically a Java virtual machine, and this using this Spark, where is this? Sorry, just a minute, I misplaced. Yeah, here. This Spark session is actually a connection between the Python execution environment and the Java virtual machine. And the Java virtual machine is what is working on your Hadoop distributed file system and the files inside that file system. Python is making your life easier by creating PySpark library. Okay, so at the back end, it is still Java, and it is still the Java virtual machine and the data set, the Hadoop file system. PySpark is just a wrapper. This is what I wanted to make it clear for you guys. And if I say Spark SQL, it will actually create, let me actually open the Spark SQL also, so that it is better that you actually take a look at that, and you will see the prompt is different. You will not see the Python prompt, you will see the way it is getting initiated itself is different, because we are directly entering into SQL environment, and it will connect lot of things before it starts the SQL environment. And it will also check the master yarn, and it will check the block manager, who is going to be the block manager, and it will also check the warehouse, where is the warehouse located. I will show you this warehouse in a moment. This warehouse I can show it in HDFS file system. All these things, getting an overview. Usually what happens is there's lots of tutorials which explain each of this part for hours together. Okay, so what happens is that getting a overview becomes a difficult task. You have to go through those hours of videos, and then by the time you complete one module, the other module data you would have already forgotten. When you look at it like this in a single video, right, you will get a very good picture. So that's the intention. And you see that, okay, in my case, there is a challenge in creating Spark SQL environment. And if I just run and help, you will see that, okay, so you will immediately see that I'm getting Spark SQL environment. Usually, this should not be the case, okay, because I am running the server at a very minimal conditions, and I am not using the maximum potential. I am getting these errors, but in your cluster, you will not be getting it. That is in your production cluster, because it will be administered appropriately with appropriate effort and power. So you don't need to worry about this. I'm just giving you an overview here. I'm going to exit right now. So it will exit out, and let me show you the HDFS DFS, and let us do an ls, and let us go into user to show you what is there inside the user. I told you that I want to show you the warehouse, right? So if you go into Spark or Hive, so let us go into Hive first, and if you do a user Hive ls, and you will immediately see there is a warehouse here. And similarly, if you go into Spark also, you will see the warehouse there also. Both the warehouses are actually linked. Okay, and if I actually take a look at warehouse, if I do a listing on warehouse, and you'll see that I am not using any hi-fi Linux commands here. I'm just using listing commands here. I'm using list command, I'm using cat command. I'm trying to understand the various file locations using change directory. This is all basic. Okay, this has nothing to do with really administrating something. I'm just giving you a tour of the internal file system, where to find the files and how to get there. And this is we can actually say that it's something that I wanted in the beginning when I started big data learning. So this actually gives you, as you start learning, you will get the picture. Okay, what is happening? So if you are going to create a database inside the Hive, what will happen is that will actually get registered, that will be shown inside the warehouse. Here we have not created any database inside the Hive environment, okay, or the Spark environment. We did not create anything here in this particular video, in this particular session. I had shown you the glue catalog tables and glue catalog databases that I had created sometime else, and I have shown you how it is linked. Please do not misunderstand that you are not seeing anything in this warehouse, because I did not create anything in this warehouse right now. Okay, that is why you are not getting anything. But when you create it, you will actually get the files here. In the other videos that I share, you will actually see those folders and files also. Take a look at that series that I am talking about. I will be attaching that also along with this video, so that you will have a good clarity on what is going on. So guys, I hope that I have given you a very good picture of what exactly, what I had told, what I had listed here, that how to get the worker node IP, how to get the think about the glue catalog, how to think about the tables, how to describe them, how to experiment with. Okay, this one I did not experiment. Okay, so I will let you guys do that. Now you know how to initiate pyspark, Spark shell, and Spark SQL. Try to work with the configuration. It's your cluster and you can actually start and stop it anytime. Okay, one more important thing, let us actually stop the cluster because as I am actually going to discuss with you, let me stop the cluster also and show you. It's very simple. All you need to do is go here and click on terminate. Once you terminate, the termination will initiate. It will take almost 2 to 3 minutes for terminating, 2 to 5 minutes. It depends on the cluster availability. And if you take a look at here, once the termination starts, the configuration will actually get cut off. So at this moment still I have the configuration connection here, but once the termination is complete, you will see that this area will be no more connected. I will not be connected to the cluster anymore. Let us go to the presentation. So when you are going to do any migration or recovery, you will know how to look at the files, how to look at the folders to get an overview of the databases, get an overview of the tables. You have seen that, and also now you can take a look at AWS EMR in a different light altogether. You can take the look at the help. It is actually very intuitive. But once you understand this, so before that, yeah, it will be very dry and very theoretical. But I hope that this video and the earlier video, if you had gone through, then I'm pretty sure that you can do a great job by understanding it. So that's it, guys. This is what I wanted to share it with you for this video. So do practice, do explore, do take a look around the cluster that you actually create, either by building it on your own or by using your cloud providers. Whether they provide it as software as a service or whether you initiate it like how I did using virtual machines, you will get a terminal. Okay, and once you get the terminal, ensure that you directly dive into the configuration level and you'll find a lot of information there. So initially you might find it a little odd to actually do these things, but once you understand these things, your ETL activities, your scripting activities will improve drastically because you understand what is going on at the base level. So with this, I would like to come to a conclusion on this video, and as usual, do practice. This is very, very important. I say this again and again because watching a video is completely different from you getting hands-on with a cluster and practicing it. And do subscribe and leave a like for my videos and my YouTube channel. Once you subscribe, you will get the updates on the videos that I upload and to your YouTube dashboard directly. With this, guys, stay tuned till the next video. Till then, take care and have a great time. See you.